you're an existing Mindbody client, you have probably had the booking widgets on your Squarespace website for years. And you may have heard a little bit of buzz in 2024, 2025 about the new Mindbody booking widgets. And if you're wondering whether you should upgrade to the new ones, you're in the right spot because that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So if you log into your branded web account, you'll see two, well, you might see right now, everyone's seeing kind of two advertisements for the new booking widgets. And Mindbody has upgraded and improved both the class booking widget and the appointment widget. They have not improved or changed any of the other ones. For right now, it's just those two that they've upgraded. And I'm recording this in summer of 2025. So maybe they'll come out with some new ones coming up. In your branded web account, if you go to create new widget, anytime you create a new schedule widget or an appointment widget at this point, it is going to be the new versions. You cannot create a classic version or the older versions. However, if you have those older versions still in your account, you can still use them. They still work. You don't have to upgrade anything on your website. You can keep using them. And if you like the style of the older widgets, say you have on your site, you have like 3 different pages with booking widgets. You don't want one of them to be different than the other ones. You can still create new older widgets by clicking the 3 dots next to any of your older ones and clicking copy. So you're going to take a duplicate of that widget and then you can style it up and that'll still keep the older styling. However, if you start a new widget from scratch up here with the create new widget, it is going to be the new styling. So if you're brand new to Mindbody, you don't have any of the older widgets in your account, your only option is to go forward with the new widgets. So let's take a look at what those new widgets look like and see if you want to upgrade. So for the class schedule widget, here's what the new widget looks like. Compared to, here's an example of the older widget version. So you'll notice on the older widget, the one you might be used to, you can scroll or a user can scroll through to see all the upcoming classes. So this is nice if you only have a couple classes a day and you want to show just, what's coming up in just one glance. Whereas the new widget, you'll notice people have to click through to the different days to see what classes are coming up. So I do think people will get used to this over time, but I have had some studios who want to keep the older version because they only have like 1 or 2 classes a day and they don't want it to look like a real empty schedule, especially if someone comes in and you just had a morning class that day and then so it shows no classes that day. So you might want to consider keeping the old schedule if you only have 1 or 2 classes a day. If you have a pretty robust schedule of classes, I think switching to the newer one and getting people used to clicking to see different days is probably going to be just fine. The other limitation that we have on this newer version is as web designers and developers, we cannot add custom CSS to change anything on here. So the only options you have for customizing this widget are the ones that you will actually have in your branded web account when you go to create the widget code. And in future videos, I'm going to step through all those options in more detail. But just good to know right now that if you are someone who really likes to fine tune things, if you want to make sure that maybe this isn't there, or you want to hide certain things. Those are all things that we could do as web developers on the older schedule. In fact, you can see on this one, we have this color block, this blue behind the class dates. That's not default to the way the Mindbody works. That's some custom CSS, a little bit of code that I added in to make the schedule easier to read. So just big picture on these 2 new widgets, your web developer, whereas they used to be able to fine tune some things on the older widgets, they cannot override anything that is default on the new Mindbody widgets. I will save you the long discussion on why that is, but basically the fundamental code, the way that these widgets work is different, and it's not the same way where we can reach in and touch things and adjust things. The nice part about this though is that you're not using the cart pop-up. So you can see when I go into the checkout, it is actually embedded on the page, which is going to ultimately, the goal there is that it causes less browser incompatibility problems, whereas the older version widget, it pops up the cart overlay, which can cause some problems with some browsers. If Safari updates things, we might have some clients not being able to see the cart pop up. So I know I'm guessing that's why they went to this newer one. It's just a little more stable. But that said, we can't adjust anything that's in those windows. So there's your basics on the class schedule widget. Hopefully that's enough info where you can decide whether you want to upgrade your old one. For the appointment widget, here's an example of the new appointment widget. This one, obviously this business has a lot of different categories on there. You do have the option of expanding the first one by default. That wasn't a great option for this because we have so many different services there that it just pushed all of these further down, but that is an option as well. So you would choose, say you wanted a massage and I wanted a deep tissue massage, 60 minutes. So I would select it. Then I could select my providers. This is pretty nice where you can see the pictures of the people. I think that that's really nice. That's also going to probably require you to put a little more thought into a photo shoot for your providers so it all looks nice lined up like this. But say I wanted Andrea, I'd select Andrea, and then I will go and see her next available appointment and I can book. So you can see it's more of a flow. It's more of a step-by-step booking process for the end client compared to the existing widget that you might be familiar with, which does most of really the same functionality, but it's all with like drop down. You kind of have to do it all on the same screen before you see what the availability is. So they both work just fine, but the little different kind of flow for the booking. So if you decide that you want to update either of those on your Squarespace website, you're going to go to Branded Web. I'm going to suggest that you go in and you create new widget for this. You can absolutely go to one of your existing ones and it will give you the option to preview it. You can also back out. You might want to do that if you have like, a ton of widgets. Say you have a booking widget for like each one of your instructors or something. Once you decide we're going all in, you might want to just go in and upgrade the current ones. But if you're just still kind of playing with it and you want to see if it works for you, I would just go ahead and create a new widget. And then in this case, we're going to create a schedule widget. And like I mentioned before, it's going to give you the new styling by default. You don't have that choice. Like before, you could adjust the colors. You can adjust what the text on the button says with their just a few different defaults. If you click content, you can select schedule contents and you can select by instructor location or certain class types as well. So you can pre-filter that out. You can also choose it to start at a future date. This was something that they did not have when they first put this out, but we asked for it and they added it back in. So that would be if you have like an open house event coming up in 3 weeks and you want to just create a schedule that's just showing that weekend, you can start your schedule on a future date. So once you have all those settings in and you have everything good, you're going to click Save and Deploy, and then you're going to have this code. So go ahead and click Copy on the code. Again, I don't have to do anything or know the code or anything. All I have to do is click that copy button and then come to your Squarespace website under Website Pages and find the page that your old schedule is on. So I'm just going to go to this example page. There's my old Mindbody schedule. So in order to replace that with the new one, I'm just going to edit into the page. You'll see this code block on your page. We're going to click on the code block, click the pencil icon to edit it. And then this is the old widget code. So I'm just going to copy all of that and I'm just going to delete it. So now we have an empty code block on our page. And since I copied that code from Branded Web for the new widget, I'm just going to paste that in there. So all I'm doing is replacing the code that was in there with the new one and then hit save and exit. And once it refreshes, you will see the new widget. So you can switch back and forth if you decide, after a week that this isn't working for you. You can come back into your Branded Web account, go under widgets and find your old widget and then copy that code and replace it back in on your website. So that's the basics on how you're going to upgrade your new widgets on your Squarespace website and why you may want to and why you may not want to. So take a look at both of them, play around and see what works best for your business. If you need more details on how to set up these widgets, on how to troubleshoot them on Squarespace, keep watching. I've got a whole bunch more videos coming your way, specifically all about the Mindbody integration on Squarespace websites. Well,